Hello there fellow NPCs, I am Scythe, and today we're getting back into Seeds of Chaos. In the last episode we finally found, met Night Scar, I believe is White Scar is his name, and Arcil, I believe her name was. Some sort of elven fae. Faes either way that are very upset about the fact that the twins are using the ley lines for their own devious reasons. Devious? For their own gain anyway. Which is making sure that the Faes can't use them as they wish. And they've been here for far longer than the twins have, so yeah. They believe they have a right to the ley lines, and the twins think they are above everyone else. So it's going to be a bit of a clash there. And then we also got the breeding pit, and we got to meet a new guy, Dryad or Drina or something like that his name is. So yeah, we are, the main mission is now also to find more friends throughout Rosaria. So that is what we will be doing. Maybe now I can find the noble lady that the orcs want, because the orcs are up to the north east, you know? Northwest. So we will go back there and see what happens. But for now, let's continue. Show event, Alexia potion stealing. Should I do that though? Oh, also we don't have anything with Helena right now. Is Helena finished? Is she done? Interesting. Let's see what else we got going though. Active research, Dark Dynasty. Yes, the rider training, tribe negotiations. Ooh. Military. Roman's organizational efforts to reform the Vladimir force into something resembling a professional army are nothing short of extraordinary, but further expansion will not be possible. Okay, so they're not saying that this helps with the tribe orcs per se. I was really hoping for that. But we are researching Dark Dynasty right now. What was that though? Opulence. Oh, and we get a castle hall, better castle hall. Gotcha. Anything here? Nothing there. Something here. What can we build? Oh, we only have 50, so yeah, no on that. She's still a research assistant. Nothing. Get a blow job from Clamin. Get a tit job from Clamin. Yeah. Purchase something. Can we purchase something? No. Still nothing to purchase. Jeebus. Anything else here? Rome's dominance display? No. Fool around with Leoriel? No. Don't care for her. Supplies battery? No. No. Ah, here we go. Show event. Delve dipping. What the hell is that? I am scared for your sake. Oh, and here she is. Ooh. Shaya's gift. Ooh, there's so much to do here right now. We are building more places to hang out. Good. No, I want to see what Alexia has got and what's up with Alexia first. Alexia potion stealing. Again, her husband was busy, with some castle business nobody saw fit to inform her of. She didn't complain, she understood. At least it wasn't with Helena, such a strange thought to draw comfort from. Okay, so this is a continuance of Helena, and her storyline. It's just not, we're just not visiting Helena. With nothing left to do, she decided to spend her afternoon in the castle library, browsing books. She was checking herbs on the western coast, by some man whose name she couldn't read, when a polite cough interrupted her. Nasil. Oh no! What kind of potion do you have? Lady Blackwell, if you're not using it for anything important, I'm afraid I will have to request Master Laram's catalog. I was only checking it. Here. The man accepted the book with a respectful nod and was quick to leave. She had seen him before, but couldn't put a name to the face. Well, I would like for you to introduce her to Bootleg Alexia. Now that would make you hate him just as much as I do. Excuse me, but I don't think we've ever been properly introduced. Alexia Blackwell. Research in the sim. A pleasure. It slowed his pace just enough for her to catch up, if only because manners demanded so. It wasn't the first time she was given a cold shoulder in the castle, and she would hardly let herself be bothered by it. Is herbology something you specialize in, research in a sim? I possess some expertise, but to my great regret I cannot yet claim mastery in that particular field. This is sadly why I must rely on Master Laram's work. If one looks past the elven revanchism, what the hell is that word, his insight into the wild fauna of the Western Wastes is quite invaluable. The Western Wastes? I can't say I know much about the region. How wild are we talking here? Quite wild. The man sent her a knowing smirk, paying no mind to Alexia following him into his study. Was he that enamored in his own voice? That particular area tends to avoid the inevitable Solansian counterattacks that follow each demonic invasion, which have, more or less, ensured that the Rakshan Waste will never be anything but a wasteland. Alexia snuck a curious glance at Nassim's room. Instantly she was struck by how impersonal and barren it felt. If she didn't know better, she'd swore the man moved here last week. In the western regions, nature is free to flourish, to the point where it can sustain life. Because of that, the area often harbors some of the more isolationists of the Chaos races. Orcs more often than not. The second thing that struck her was Nassim's desk, and the pitch-black potion occupying the center of it. It was half empty, and surrounded by notes and vials with various fluids she couldn't recognize. And while one could be excused for thinking orcs are mere fodder, I must admit tribes who have remained in Solansian for a long time can exhibit most fascinating cultures. Take, for example, the Ugrak-ik. Ugrak-is. Not sure how to pronounce it. The man approached his desk and tapped the potion lightly. The black surface wobbled. Oh no, I know what that black liquid is now. I think I do. It's a creature. The liquid inside impossibly dense, and a black bubble rose to the surface. She almost shivered when she saw the vile thing pop. Nothing of that color or consistency could be any good for anyone. The Ugrak-ik, like most orcs, believe that physical might is the sole prerequisite of leadership, but unlike most orcs, they don't prove it in combat. Instead, the females seek out the most physically intimidating specimen of other races, sometimes venturing hundreds of miles to find them and, well, copulate with them. Right. What we have here is the Korot Baru, a sacred potion of the tribe, whose name roughly translates to Devourer of Reason, Dawn of Apocalypse. That is a lot of translation in those, 10 letters. Devourer of Reason, Dawn of Apocalypse. Awesome name though. A rather punctuous title for an orc fertility potion, but the demon kind and their descendants aren't exactly known for their restraint, naming conventions included. Alexia watched the potion go pop again. If Nassim was not busy browsing through the book and taking notes, he might have noticed a shift in her voice. Does it work? I have yet to perform a test on a live sample, but I see no reason why it should not. The ingredients are mostly herbs known for boost fertility. Though, of course, the real magic is in the ritual that finalizes the brewing process. To him, it was obvious. To her, she could hardly care for the fine details involved. Ooh, so, fertility potion, huh? Is she gonna use it with Rowan? That's the question. I'm surprised orcs even need such potions. In a way, it was almost reassuring. They don't, not usually. The Korot Baru is brewed specifically for the purpose of the hunt, as the orcs are notoriously difficult to interbreed with half-orcs being born on average only once every 500 intercourses. A statistic brought to us by the downfall of Fortress Yarandal, May Solansia guard the souls of its garrison for all eternity. Jarandal, okay. Oh, of course, May Solansia guard their souls. He didn't even notice her stammer. For once, she was grateful for how irrelevant she was to some people in the castle. But before she could ask any more questions, Nassim stood up, checking his collection for something, and being clearly dissatisfied with what he had found. Why must Chaos Script be so difficult to work with? Someone needs to introduce it to a proper syntax. A project for next year, perhaps. You must excuse me now, Lady Blackwell. There's still work to be done. I could send you the notes once they're finished, if the topic interests you. I would appreciate it, but I fear I might not be able to make heads or tails of it. She left his room before he thought to lead her out, and Nassim closed the door behind them. If that is a concern, then I would suggest starting with the Crimson Mark. It's more of a journal than a guide to botany, which makes it quite accessible for beginner alchemists. Banned in every civilized realm south of here, goes into slightly too much detail about practical applications of human blood in soil cultivation, but a great read nonetheless. I'll look into it. You should. Have a good day, Lady Blackwell. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Good luck on your work, researcher Nassim. The man offered her a polite smile and ventured into the library again. Behind her, his study waited. He didn't lock it. We did do this to steal the potion. God damn it, I ain't corrupting Alexia too much here. She needs a healer. She didn't wait. The moment he left her sight, she turned around and casually strolled back into his room. The Korot Baru beckoned, the pitch-black remedy for her woes. She hid it under her skirt and was gone from the library before anyone noticed. Rowan rubbed his eyes, trying with no success to fight off his exhaustion. The day couldn't get any worse. Of course. Nassim, I am not in the mood for your complaining. And neither am I of having this conversation, and yet here we are. I had hoped that even though you continue to delay excavating the transformation chamber, you would at the very least allow me to continue my other research undisturbed. Nassim, what are you talking about? I am speaking of the Korot Baru, of course. Nassim held his chin high. His eyes narrowed and they threw the hero of the Six Realms a most withering look. Said hero opened his arms, absolutely confounded. What? Give me a moment while I consider the possibility that you might not have ordered your wife to spy on me and sabotage my research. Nassim, you really need to get that massive ego of yours checked. And you should keep your wife on a shorter leash, Master Blackwell. But perhaps we both have miscalculated our importance in the eyes of others. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt and try to keep it brief. Word after word, in the quiet of Rowan's study, the hero has learned of all that transpired in the library earlier that day. He hid his face in his hands, trying not to groan. Why did you even tell her about this Korot Baru? Why would I not? Regardless of one's circumstances, Castle Bloodmean continues to be a treasure vault of knowledge one would never find elsewhere. It would be a crime to make no use of it. Lady Blackwell ought to be commended for her open-mindedness. Once the Korot Baru is retrieved. So you can continue your research. Also, but primarily, so Lady Blackwell does not think to use it. The potion has a long list of side effects and has never been tested on non-orcs. Should she drink it, the effects might be highly unpredictable, potentially deadly. For Lady Blackwell to come to harm because of a potion I brought to this castle would be an unwelcome complication. His blood turned to ice. Slowly he stood up from behind his desk. His desk, I would assume. Perhaps next time you'll make sure your potentially lethal potions are kept in a more secure location. I will, if only to avoid further thievery. And perhaps you should consider making sure this situation does not repeat on your end either. A stern talk with your wife at least. Duly noted, Researcher Nassim. Now get the f*** out of my way before you piss me off further. The man bowed his head politely and moved aside as Rowan stormed out of the room. How is Alexia right now? Unbelievable. His anger rose with every step. Alexia had one job, to be strong and not make his life any more difficult than it already was. Oh no. What? That's, wrong language. Let's put it like that. Apparently he was expecting too much. He stopped in front of a room, trying to force his emotions in check. Partially succeeding, he knocked on the door and invited himself in. Alexia, do you have a moment? Always there. Did something happen? We have to talk about Nassim's potion. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. I haven't been exactly subtle about taking it. No, not really. But I'm not giving it back. He blinked, unsure if he heard her right. Her sad expression gave way to a determined one, and she continued, her voice sad but steady. You don't have to worry. I have no intention of using it right now. Even though part of me really wants to. But I do intend to keep it. Why though? Alexia, I know. Whatever it is you want to say, I know. She tugged at the amulet at her neck, scowling. I know this is not the right time, and I know we have the twins to worry about, and I know you have to look after everything in the castle, and I know your weekly endeavors in Rosario aren't exactly recreational visits. I know all of this. But Rowan, I'm miserable. She swallowed heavily and gave him another sad smile. Nowadays, they are all too common. Oh, don't get me wrong, I'm glad that you're here. Whatever the situation, having you by my side makes it all bearable. But this castle is a nightmare. Feels like even the walls themselves want to twist me into something I'm not. Even a gilded cage would be difficult to live in for a year. This isn't even that. I had a life in Arthdale, Rowan, and hope. Hope of having a family, hope of giving you a son or a daughter and raising them with you. Hope of growing old together, and hope of maybe dying with you by my side. Now at best, I can maybe hope for the last one. Several times her voice was at the edge of breaking, yet she continued, holding back the tears. Rowan, I intend to keep the potion, not to use it now, for later. For the day when we finally are finally free again. For the day when I can finally dream of having a future again. So that I can have any hope again. Or am I to give that away too? Just like I gave your marriage bed. Oh yeah, just like I gave our marriage bed to another. I have no response to that. She looked up, daring him to say she must. Console her, just get to the point. Scold for stealing the potions. What do we mean when we get to the point, though? I kinda need to save here and find out what that means. Do you have the potion here? Reluctantly, she nodded her head. I'll have to take it. It's dangerous, Alexia. It might even kill you. How do you know if it's dangerous? From the sim? What if he's lying? Okay, so get to the point we're taking the potion. We're not scolding her. Now there's obviously driving something through between us. That's unfortunate. Console her. Before he even said anything, he knelt before his wife and wrapped his arms around her, hugging her close to his chest. A painfully long moment passed until he finally felt her her own arms around him, touching him lightly, shyly almost. They stayed like that for a moment. Finally, he kissed her on the head and let her go. He almost didn't want to mention the potion again, but the elephant in the room had to be addressed. Do you have the potion here? Reluctantly, she nodded her head. I'll have to take it. It's dangerous, Alexia. It might even kill you. Okay, so we get here regardless. It's just with or without some consolation. Just like it said. How do you know it's dangerous? From the sim? What if he's lying? I suppose that is possible. Does it look safe? I could find an alchemist first. Shake it before I use it. I don't think we'll ever find anyone willing to want to touch anything that came out of Castle Bloodmean. If they'll even understood that thing about orc potions. Well, maybe I could take a sip first. Nobody said I had to drink all of it at once. That's not how magical brews work. She bit her lip. He pretended not to see the tears in her eyes. Maybe I could water it down. Share it with someone. And hurt both of you? If the potion does not catch fire the moment it touches water. I've seen them do that. She didn't argue further. She wanted to. He saw it in her eyes. She just didn't know what to say. Damn you! She stood up, dragging her body as if it was made of iron. She walked across the room and knelt by one of the corners. She pried one of the wooden planks open. Rowan didn't know it could be removed. A moment later, his wife placed a black potion on the table in front of him, shoulders slumped. He took it in his hands. The pitch-black liquid swirled lazily. It looked thick, unreasonably so, like a pool of tar. This was what his wife put her faith into? Just how desperate was she? Is that all? Promise her to look into safer treatments. That's all. You feel for her, but this really is not the right time. Oh, that's dangerous. You don't want to hear about her pregnancy issues ever again. God damn. If you want to keep Alexia, you need to talk about this. But the options here, I'm not sure if it's because Rowan doesn't want children, or the options they have been proposing here really does show that Rowan really doesn't actually want children, but it's something she really wants. Promise her to look into safer treatments. He grabbed her shin. She tried to avoid his gaze, but he forced her to look at him. Alexia, I'm sorry. I wasn't aware how important this was to you. Blind as a bat. She let out a humorous laugh. She didn't seem surprised by his admission, and that just made him even more ashamed of himself. Thank you, but it doesn't matter anymore. It does. Alexia, I'll find another way. What? You heard me. I'll find another way. We will be a family yet. I promise. Nassim's potion was dangerous, but maybe there are alternatives. I can try to pressure him or maybe appeal to his self-interest. Try to get Cleona to do me a favor, or... She threw herself at him, almost knocking him over. She sealed his lips with a desperate kiss, and he felt the tears running down her face. He held her for as long as she needed it, and when she finally pulled away, and he saw the pain in her eyes, Alexia, it was like 1,000 needles in his heart. Rowan, you shouldn't. You were right. This is not the right time. People waiting for the perfect moment often miss their only chance. Yeah, exactly. That's why I didn't want to choose that option, honestly. I should have done something years ago, but I can't turn back time. So, I'll see what I can do right now. What if we have to run away? Then I'll just have to save us before your belly starts showing. Besides, Rescuing his pregnant wife would only add to the tale of Rowan Blackwell, no. We could tell it to our kids once they're older. I would tell it every time we'd sat down by the fireplace. They'd be so sick of it by the time they're 6. She laughed and hugged him again. She was right. It was nice to have something to look forward to, even if it was just a fantasy. Now, he would have to make sure it wouldn't remain just that. Oh no! We opened the pregnancy path. Oh no, I mean, if we don't follow it, she's not gonna be happy. And yeah, as I said, we can't do anything with Helena, so we're done with her for now. Actually, let's see what we can get from Glamin, shall we? Let's see what that does for us. What's shaking, Rowan? Fancy another yug tug? Yug tug? We didn't get one in the first place. Accept Glamin's offer for another teacher. We didn't get one in the first place. And D-line. Well, yeah, I'll see you guys real soon. And we're back. Yeah, not bad. And if you want to see that, because she's a very fun lady, you have to go over to SpicyGaming.net once I can upload videos there again. I am gonna let you know once that is possible. But for now, let's continue. So, what else could we do here? Right, I want to go down and talk to, not you, but to her here. Shaya's gift. Rowan stayed back at the portal with a weary expression. He just returned from the field after another week of operations. He could depart, of course, but his mind was still taking stock of his progress and failures of the week's past operations. He was distracted enough that he didn't notice for some time that he wasn't alone, though this particular visitor seemed to have a talent for not drawing attention to herself. Shaya? The brothel keeper was waiting in the doorway, watching him silently. When he turned to her to address her, she adopted a lower posture, head downcast, palms facing upwards, shoulders slouched. It is good to see you again, Sir Rowan. I'm sorry if I'm intruding. No, it's alright. Your timing was perfect. Is there something you wanted to speak to me about? Shaya nodded softly. She padded forward, barefoot against the stone floor, until she was quite close to him. He could smell the floral scent of whatever perfume she put on, and had to force himself not to stare at her exposed body with how close it was to him. Not that he put that much effort into resisting that impulse. I have a note. May I give it to you? Rowan extended his hand, and Shaya handed over a small rolled-up piece of parchment. It had the details of where a small caravan would be going through, and where it would be unguarded the longest. God damn, that's a lot of good info. What is this? One of my girls managed to find herself in bed with a drunk nobleman. He had loose lips about a shipment of minerals being transported from the eastern mines. I'd hoped that you would know what to do with it. Rowan looked over the note. It would be simple enough to arrange an ambush and capture the minerals for Bloodmean. He could arrange for that in a matter of minutes. Rowan gave the shy woman an encouraging smile. This is quite useful. Thank you, Shaya. Shaya brightened up visibly. Beneath her veil, her eyes sparkled happily at the compliment. Really, you give me an honor I don't deserve. This was the most meager of services I could provide, especially towards a man of your stature. Rowan scratched his head. I'm not all that special. You don't need to talk like that. Surely, though, this is a common occurrence at the brothel. Ysera selected it as the base for her spies after all. They must be overflowing with stories. Shaya giggled into her hand. Overflowing with stories and other things. Yes, but we needn't talk about it now. I'm sure your adventures make mine look like triflings by comparison. No one needs to hear about the petty squabbles of us. So, Rowan, I'd much rather hear about you. She clutched his hand in both of hers and he held it close to her. So, Rowan began to talk about his job in the field. Shaya worked with him, so there was no harm in going into detail. Initially, he kept his explanation quite general, but Shia proved a surprisingly excellent listener. Surely the human villagers must be loyal to their overlords, though. I must admit that the places beyond the walls of Carousel were no place for a girl like me. But among travelers, they speak of how every peasant knows who their immediate superior is in the Empire. Perhaps that is true in the Empire, but in Rosaria. After a while, Rowan found his shoulders easing somewhat. It had been too long since he had a conversation like this with someone in the castle. It seemed like Shia wanted to know everything. Yeah, but that's also what a spy does, you know? So, question is she actually interested in knowing, or is she trying to figure stuff out? That's the question. Last time we saw her, we got to make a, perception or deception roll. So if we do that again, we are gonna figure out if she is up to no good or not. In fact, it went on so long that Rowan almost forgot he had a job to do. Wait, Sir Rowan, please before you go, will you listen to my plea? Once a week, during days when you're in the castle, I take a break from official work and join the other girls on the floor. There is a dance, and it's quite popular. I've heard mercenaries speak about it. You're bleeding a few of them free of their wages. Is that so? There's a sense to that. What's money for if not to buy a little slice of happiness? But if you decide to come down and attend one of my performances, rest assured you would not have to pay. It is just a show, and not a night with a girl after all. Besides, in some respects, we're business partners, are we not? We'll have to see about that. I make no promises. Yeah, that's a tricky suggestion. Unless we can get Alexia to do the dancing with her, that is gonna look really bad, you know. Then you are considering it. That thought is enough. When next I perform, I will seek you in the audience. You're such a tease, woman. I should hope so. It's my profession. Afterwards, Rowan returned to his room to change out of his dirty clothes, but his mind lingered on the conversation he had just left. The information that Shia had provided would be of use, and she seemed to constantly prove herself such a warming presence. Yet, when he was around her, he often found himself feeling mistrustful. We are sticking to that. Like he needed to be careful. This woman was a master extracting information from a hapless man. Did Rowan believe himself to be above such things? As he entered his room, his eyebrows furrowed and his glance went to his desk. The note from his first meeting with the brothel keeper was, no doubt, still wedged snugly in the treatise he'd placed it. Who is Shia? Perhaps a visit to the brothel might offer more than just entertainment. Oh, is that what you're going for? Oh, let's see here. Watch Shia put on a show. Damn, that was quick. And, yeah, there's nothing with Alexia here either. Nothing there. So maybe we'll do that in the next episode. We'll see about that. But yeah, we had some fun. Unfortunately, some not so fun with Alexia as well. But yeah, that will be it for today's episode. Are we really going to make sure that Alexia can bear children in the future? I am such a I really don't want children. And it freaks me out every time as that comes up in gameplay. Not for me. But yeah, that is it for today. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you Joseph for donating directly to my Ko-fi page. If you guys want to help me out, you can do so by clicking the link down in the description. And I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye everyone.